Hello, everyone. Welcome to NDISCO'S Village Meeting Podcast. This is Series 3, Episode 22. Yes, this is our third year running, and we're beginning to get a hang of it. Have a day. Welcome. I warmly welcome you to today's talk. And I am your hostess, your host, Dr. Marcellina Ndidi M.OPARAOJI. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Let's start digging into this. First, you all must realize that we are on African soil as we speak. Something froze a little bit. I wonder what it was. But we're back. Sorry about that. So we're still on Africa, society and culture, where we talk about everything. Religion, the way we live, our lifestyle, our way we dress, what we eat, and much, much more. So that means we touch on every topic that we can. We may not do best of how everybody will expect it, but we do enough to have those inquiry minds getting to know what they need to know, and especially my young ones. And for those of you who don't remember that, the podcast originated from responses from my book, Raising an African Child in America, and seen from an immigrant mom's perspective. And since then, the book is being used in schools and some other places to get awareness. And I get bombarded by calls of people trying to use it to do movies, which I don't think it's adapted to that, or to expand it, because it's actually a unique book. And I didn't know what I was doing when I bought that. So I still have a lot of work to do about the book and the topics that were expressed there. But one of those is about parenting. And some of us know how to do it better than others. I don't know much about the little I can do. But I rely on other schools of thought. Many people hear me say that. That means I look at what others have said, those who are interested in knowing more about a particular topic. So I go in and collect their ideas and share, because we are dealing with a lot of information out there. We're on information superhighway. And that means you can dig till tomorrow and you are bombarded by deluge of information, and to just sort them out is another big deal. So I help do that on certain topics, and that's what I promise my young ones. So, and one of the things that I've been told that I am more focused on women and children than the men. They might be right, but it's not on purpose. I cannot write on everything. And I challenge other people or encourage other people to see if they can pick up where I left off. But I try to balance it all. So today's topic is the other side of the coin to the one I did not too long ago. I think it was episode 17 or 16. I don't have that offhand, but look it up. And when it was Mothering Sunday, this religious Mothering Sundays, and then in the next few hours, we are going to be celebrating Mother's Day, just like last week. We celebrated, I think they call it Fathering Sunday. But then June, we also have Father's Day. So we will continue to appreciate these people, whether there are dates or not. So after the Mothering Sunday, I shared an episode on the communications between mothers and their children. So, but today a question came up that made me also look at this other side of the coin. And that's a young man who sent me a question. I'm going to share that now, if I can. Come on. Where did you go? Okay. I had a blackout for 1 minute. Sorry about that. So, episode 22 is this young person asked, actually, a concern, a complaint says, Auntie, I really cannot freely talk to my dad. So there were, again, we're not going to name names or give you the whole picture of it, but that was a concern, a complaint that came. And it's not even the first time we talked about this with some of the few of these, especially the young boys, who are so starved to talk to someone about their encounters daily or periodically, but they are not given the open forum to do that. They can't talk to anybody else to do that. So I talked about a little bit of things too with this young man. But then I remembered I should ask the dads, especially the African dads, what is the nature of your relationship with your children? And this is a serious question because I know a lot of our dads work really hard. The dads out there, they work really hard. But is that balanced then? Is that the priority of, okay, you want to put some food in your children's belly, you want to put a roof over their head, and then what? When they have been fed and they have been sheltered, what will they amount to tomorrow? Is there a tomorrow for them? Were they directed? Were they guarded towards their own goals? Yeah, your own fathers may not have done that for you, but especially the young ones in diaspora, they are battling so many things, cultural clash and all that. Who is helping them navigate the muddy waters of the world on their shoulders? If they are the young ones at the homestead whose government have abandoned them, they don't have jobs and all that. And their dad's talking to them and saying, how do we figure this thing out without just calling them names? So this is what the question is to you African dads, whether you are in Timbuktu or you are, in Greenland or in the village of Omonkume. What relationship do you have with your, especially the boys, especially the boys? So let's get into that. So when I dug into that to see, okay, how do we do that? How can we help the men? It's not that they don't know what to do. Most of them do, but it's a question of the priorities. Just like we said to the women, you got to be there. But we need to remember, especially the dads, remember that, and we moms know that the young people under us, especially the boys, they could be 80 years old. They're still our children. They're still young. Our children, no matter how old, they will always come back. They will always be our babies. So I found 6 ways that the consensus agreed what fathers should be asking themselves when it comes to relationship with their children, especially the boy child. Number 1 is, are they practicing active? Are they actively present? And involved in the lives of these young ones, the boys especially, because this complaint came from a boy, a young man. So how present are you in your son's life, your children's life? How involved are you? When I say active presence, that means when you are needed, yes, you have to do the job, you have to bring in the bacon and all that. But the men will always need their father, just like the girls will need their fathers. I am one of those. I still remember, despite the fact that my father died early in my life, I still remember those years of the wisdom imparted that still guides me till today. Okay. So the boys, the children need you, Dad. Are you present? Or are you taking priority somewhere else? Okay. A lot of these students, when there was a data that was pulled up, and the question was how many of them were helped by their dad and their mom to complete their college applications? It was mostly mom. Dad was not there. And it's not that like dad wasn't there. It's like they feel that mom should handle it more. But from the young ones, they need the two of you. They need dad actually directing. The other aspect that the dads are asked to ask themselves whether they are provided active listening to your child when they're talking to you. So, and are you validating what they're telling you? So active listening doesn't mean when this child is talking to you, you are trolling, on your phone or your computer, your laptop, and you're not looking at them, you're just nodding your head or you know what they said, and then at the end you tell them exactly what you have in mind without having heard anything they said. So active listening, including your body forward, you're focusing on them and nothing else. You're looking them in the face, or if you don't have the habit of looking in the face like Africans um, don't, you show one way or the other that you are there for that child at that moment that they have questioned 100% and nothing else. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes. It could be, even if other siblings are there and this particular one needs your attention, can you drive out with them? You are running an errand. Could you take them along with you and you guys can talk? You know, you can't believe many of them who their parents don't have time for them, their fathers especially. Validation means that you may not feel what day is going on around their lives. Like I always share that these young ones, especially the ones in diaspora, including the ones at home, are facing difficulties that maybe some of us never faced growing up. They are battling so many things. Do you shun it off to say, these young ones, you are too soft and all that? They may be, but there's a concern there. The validation is to at least, since you are not going through what they're going through, you may not sympathize because it's not happening, you don't have the experience, but you empathize because you understand, at least get where they're coming from. When they tell you this is what is going on and this is what is going on, you don't just brush them off. You're listening to them. You're validating, yeah, that may be happening. And then help them find a way to navigate that muddy water right there. That is what is being said. The number 3 is your encouragement. Do you encourage? I know the African way is to say it's my way or the highway, but is it the same? You're growing up and they're growing up. Yeah, we are asked to give them, encourage them to do certain things, um, get them out of their comfort zone. But how much of getting out of their comfort zone is now useless for them? How do you encourage them? Yes, um, we like the fact that if an African child gets 99 over 100 percent, so an African parent is saying, okay, who got that 1%? Why didn't you capture the 1% on top? Yeah, That's encouragement. At least they know you care. But to shout on them for that, I don't know. It's how you go in. But encouraging them, okay, next time, go get them, Tiger. It's part of encouragement. Oh, you did well, son. You did well. And if they come home with a really, really bad grade, this is actually when you dig in to say, okay, tell me what happened. Okay, what went wrong? And that's the emotional support to say, I gave my best, dad or mom, but my best wasn't good enough. And this is where you start listening and say, this boy or this girl that I am planning to go be a rocket scientist actually hates math or doesn't like science at all. So these are the things that they're asking you. Number 4, do you practice the talk? TALK, called the talk in parentheses. I'm sorry, in quotation mark. The talk means, do you sit down with them to talk to them about the racial aspect? Yes, these are African children. They have African names. Some of them have accents. Some of them look different from other people. Do you, as a dad or a parent, sit down with them and say, I get, okay, this is what the race is going on at. This is your cultural aspect of life. Socialization aspect is really tough on these immigrant kids. The matter that they're hyphenated, they can speak in that American accent, but yet they don't fit in there. So are you sitting with them to give that talk was like, this is how you handle that? And our children are doing great in that aspect, but it's not enough. The talk includes, things like, okay, when you see a policeman that stops you, most mothers, we gave that talk. Okay, obey. This person is doing their job. Obey and not mouthing off and all that. Ask questions when they want to do certain things. Yeah, some of them, can be still bad. What the society is all about. But guess what? If you respect them, they respect you. And that is a lesson that some of us took time to teach because things happen. So if your talk as a dad, the talk includes, okay, mentioning legacy. Okay, you are from, don't forget your where you come from and all that. That's great, but are you living that legacy yourself? See, you can't pour what you've done from what you don't have. You're talking to them about legacy. How do you do that when you cannot even you don't know how to break the traditional color knot? You don't know how to even pour libation. You're talking to them about legacy. Even you yourself, you can't trace your own uh, uh, parentage, your grandfather, your great grandfather, how the lineage runs. You don't know where the farms are and anything, but you are pushing this young one who has no idea. It's okay to learn with them, show them, and get somebody maybe who knows to learn with them. But it involves face to face. I don't care how much texting goes on. I don't care how much phone calls. It's the social media. There is a report that came out the other day that some countries are going back to the experiment of children coming, the young ones coming face to face in certain situations, putting away their handheld devices. And you could see the difference. You could see that. Even in corporate America, we tried it one time when everything was online, and everybody, went into training online and all that. After a few months to year or two, people started coming back to the classroom because it wasn't the same. People wanted that human interaction. So human interaction is important. It's not even when you like face what do you call it now? The video face-to-face people, it's not the same. The video call, no, nothing beats, no, human to human. And so we're encouraging dads to make time. They need you. In fact, as they grow older, they need you more as their dad because now they're beginning to realize what you used to tell them and they're beginning to experience what you used to say to them. The words now are becoming actions. So they look up to that, the young ones. But they're not getting it. Some of them are complaining. They may not tell you directly, but they're telling someone. Educational engagement is the next one. This is where you reason. Listen to them. It all goes back to active presence and listening. If you hear them, we wouldn't have, I will tell you, there have been like one or two who finished medical school. Guess what? Medical school. And this is just the plain truth. They go, Auntie, we've, congratulations, oh, wow, where are you going to do that? No, I've given my parents my certificate. I'm going to do what I like now. Guess what? They've borrowed a whole lot of money that they're going to pay back for a degree they're not going to use. So the educational engagement is having a talk with them upfront. What are you doing? And maybe observing their strengths and weaknesses. You don't ask them to be an engineer when they cannot even do little math, not to talk about hard math. It's like you get to know their strengths and weaknesses. And so when they are going to tell you that, oh, you're going to be a singer or an artist or something, you don't think the world has come to an end. Things are diversified now. So educational engagement is sharing with them. I told some parents that if you share with a child the pros and cons of whatever careers they want to get into, and with the age of AI now, you look for where would you be in the next 5 years, especially those going into college now. It's not enough to just pick up a profession and go, a career and go. You got to look at what is the outlook on that. So that's the aspect of that. University education is supposed to prepare you to now open your mind to do what else, to add to what else. It's not just a one-way street anymore. So we got to think about that. And last but not the least is the mentorship and cultural values. So mentorship means you don't get hypocritical in saying they do something that you don't do. As a dad, as a parent is, I said you must do this, but dad, mom, I don't see you doing that. Well, why are you asking me to do that? So you practice what you are preaching, and the children observe. They absorb and they observe what you're doing to absorb what you're doing, and they put it to practice. Cultural values follow that. I mentioned the breaking of color norms. Yeah, in our communities now, it's hard to find a community meeting that is void of shouting and non-coherence and all that. And that has scared our children so badly that we haven't stepped back to ask ourselves, who picks up the baton after us when we're no longer here? Because we've made a mess of a whole lot of things. But yet, we are pointing fingers at these young ones, calling them names, when we are not showing them good ways to go. So this is not to tell you what you don't know, but just a reminder. And I promise to balance it out because I did the same for the women. You can go look it up, one of these few past episodes on that series 3. But I wanted to do the same for men as well, following the Father's Day, CWO, Christian Fathering Sunday, after the Mother's Mothering Sunday. So if you can pick up, it's never too late. Engage in active presence and involvement in the boys, especially the boys' lives, active listening, and validate them. Say, I see you. Okay? Yeah, even if they are really bad, they can turn around by your voice, by your command, by your really seeing it, what they're going through. Number three is encouraging them and giving them emotional support. They need that. Give them the talk. Talk to them about their race, their cultural, socialization aspect, the legacy you talk about. This is the time to map it out for them and show them exactly what you mean. And remember that even no matter how old they get, they still need you. Okay? So this is even if you tell them about the past, even if you don't want to relive it, tell them, because children will learn from that. The tribal aspect as well, the community aspect, the kindred aspect. They need to know that. It's not enough to say, oh, they are going to those big homes we built at home, thinking they're all going to come back to it. They may not. We pray they do, but you know, if we had practiced all these, that could bring them home closer. You know, it's not a question of just speaking the local language. Some of them who could speak the local language are not even coming closer to home as well. So there's something is wrong somewhere. Educational engagement, we ask you to look at where they're coming from. Okay. As dad, you have the influence. Some of them imitate you. They look at what you do, they love it without even you saying a word, because you live your word, and they, counter to that. They follow your footsteps. But then they get disappointed when you live a lie and you're never there for them, and they let go, even of the little they believe in you. Mentorship and cultural values is the last. They want to follow your footsteps, so show them the way. I'm not telling you guys what to do. It's what I picked up from my research from a question. A concern, a young one, told me that they're finding it difficult to relate with their dad, and that hurt my feelings. And they hurt him because he was not saying it to spite dad. He was looking for a solution as to where to approach dad. But this is one thing I can't force dad, but to find a way for the young one to keep reaching out to dad. So I wish you guys the best, all dads, African dads, whether the children under you are your biological ones or otherwise. Some of you do great job, and we really thank you for that. Some of you are trying, but I don't know if they know how. There is a help out there. There's no textbook or anybody that handed you a written instruction as to be how to be a dad. But the good thing is that nowadays people are coming together to think, how do we do this? So thank you for listening. This is your hostess, Dr. Marcellina Ndidi M.OPARAOJI, um, saying um, thank you again, and please subscribe. I am on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and much, much more. Thank you so much, and God bless you all, dads. Bye-bye.